Welcome to Storycraft Studios.
Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten.
Today I'll be turning this Katrina Demu doll from the Shriek series into an Alolan Vulpix. I've wanted to work with this doll for a while now because of the ears. Anthro or Gajinka characters are a unique challenge I really enjoy. It took me a while to decide on a character and design it. I considered doing Hello Kitty for a while, but then I landed on Vulpix. During the process, a few details changed, but the idea remains. Prepping the doll is the same as ever, but the hair proved difficult. The glue had seeped out to the ends, super gross, and was really thick. I had to cut open the scalp to get it all out. Ugh. The face-up went well-ish. The whole thing is blurry, but it's tight enough you can see most of it. I started the face-up before, but had to restart because the sealant attracted a thick layer of dust while waiting for the next layer. I wiped it off and decided to do it again, in mostly acrylic paint this time. I started with blushing the lips, cheeks, and eyes, and then repeated, also adding the eye shape and eyebrows. Here comes the paints. Whites and lips first. I fill the iris with a base of blue and touch up the lips. I add the eyebrows and nose, then details to the eyes. You can't tell, but I have a bit of a tremor, so I did the final details off camera. They came out really good, but I didn't get a shot of the finished face. My bad. For the clothes, I used the fabric in the upper left panel. The dress was tricky, so I did it off camera. I modified the bodice from my Miss Frizzle dress for the top, and used a pattern from an earlier doll to make the lined skirt. The embroidery is done with my trusty sewing machine. I was originally going to make a loose sweater, but it wasn't coming out, so I switched to a cardigan. I got the instructions from My Froggy Stuff. I'll leave the link below. You start by cutting out a square of fabric. You want it a little wider than the doll's wingspan and longer than where you want it to end. I made it a crop to suit the dress. Next, I mark roughly where I'll be sewing the arms and sides. These are almost never where the stitches actually end up. I cut the center where the cardigan will open and cut a smaller rectangle of fabric to use to hem the opening. I stitched and ironed the insert off screen. I mark the fabric again, this time the sleeve length. I pin and hem it on the machine. I then sew up the sides and sleeves in one go, and somehow forgot to film that. And now the sparkles begin. I don't think there's a single part of this doll that doesn't have some kind of glitter, and I do not apologize for that. She's an ice type, and ice sparkles. Also, glitter is fabulous. The paper mache base. I use watered down glue and tissue paper, doing it in 3 thin layers, letting them dry between. On the second layer, I add a half foam balls to build the toe. After a little bit of sanding to even things out, I cut a piece of my fabric. I used the same as the skirt lining. I glue it to the shoe and smooth it over the surface, getting out all the wrinkles. I cut off the excess and glue or tape the bottom edge under where the sole will be. If you do this right, you shouldn't need tape. Which is to say, this is the first time I did this and it went a little wrong, but it came out a lot better than my previous shoe attempts. Trust me. After the glue dries, I use stiffy liquid to make the upper part of the boot solid. Once that dries, I apply glitter. So much glitter. I used hot glue to attach the fur to the top. I chose to use brushed out wefts to match her tail and hair instead of actual fur. I attached little panels and Velcro too so I can close it up, which didn't work in the end, but was a worthy effort. The reason the back panels didn't work is because I tried to use ribbon to hide the back seam, but it just ended up causing problems, so then I glued on the sole. More glitter! Last comes the heels, made from beads glued and stabilized by a cut pin. Again, didn't get a final shot. I need to start being more aware of those things. But the boots came out fabulous and you'll get to see them in the end. The tail was pretty simple. I cut out a piece of white foam to form the base. With hot glue, I attached some long sewn wefts left over from an earlier project. To make Vulpix's signature tail curls, I first glue in some cotton balls. Once those are mostly dry, I put down more glue and curl the wefts up around them. It takes a lot of waiting until they're set, but then I cover it in glitter paint to help it hold its shape. To attach it at the end, I glued a magnet to the tail and attached another to the back of the doll. They work really well, but I don't have a shot of them off the doll. The wig starts with wefts. I wrap yarn around a pencil tin and cut to get single lengths. I loop them on a clothes hanger and tuck the top onto the cutting board handle for stability. I use a pet brush to brush out the fibers. Once they're brushed out, I use a flat iron to smooth the wefts. They look really shiny at this point. I put glue down on an old non-stick sheet, then cut the wefts off the hanger. I stick the cut ends into the glue, squirt a little more, then brush it all so the fibers are covered. To learn more about doll wigs, I suggest going to Mozekyto's channel. I'll link her below. While the wefts dry, I start the wig cap. I cover the head in plastic to protect it. Then a bit of nylon, making sure it has no wrinkles. I brush on glue and let it set. After 3 layers, I pull the cap off the head and cut it to fit. I tried to do guides in chalk, but they rubbed off right away. painted the cap white off screen before gluing the wefts. I used Mod Podge to attach the wefts in layers. I start in the back, then do the bangs. I cut the bangs on each layer to keep it under control. To cover the ear holes, I pushed in some wefts and glued them to the insides. Should have cut them from the glue and thinned them to just cover. Lesson learned. They're a bit bulky. For the top curls, I first glue 2 wefts in opposite directions. Once those dry, I use tiny cotton balls to start tufts, like on the tail. I stick them with pins after I curl them to keep them in place while they dry. To style, I pull back the front hair to the back and tie it, finishing with a little jeweled bow. And we're ready! Thanks for watching! Hey, if you want to see more, check out my other videos. And be sure to subscribe. Bye!